it happened. Today, the world quietly split in two, and nobody noticed. September 22nd is supposed to be the autumn equinox, light and dark in perfect balance. And while it is, that's only the surface. Because something else is happening right now. Something far more dramatic, far more unsettling, and most people will never realize they lived through it. The equinox is already spiritually powerful on its own, a major turning point in energy. But this one isn't alone. It's tied to something much bigger, an event many of us have quietly sensed, waited for. You have no idea what's about to take place. The autumn equinox has triggered a rapture, but this rapture isn't about disappearing. It's about crossing over. Imagine it like this. One version of you gets left behind, and another version steps forward. More awake, more alive, more real than ever before. The equinox didn't just balance the scales, it tilted them, forcing you to choose which version of yourself continues past this point. And here's the twist. This shift doesn't just affect you. It's reshaping the people around you, the world you walk in, the very reality you wake up to tomorrow morning. Most chosen ones have awaited a long time for a moment like this, and now it's here. The people who once dismissed you will find themselves unable to ignore you now. The equinox didn't just balance light and dark, it shifted spiritual authority. For years, chosen ones were overlooked, mocked, or silenced. Today marks the point where that invisibility starts to break. The same people who turn their backs will feel a pull they can't explain, finding themselves drawn to your presence, watching what you do, and paying attention in ways they never did before. This isn't about speaking louder or forcing recognition. It's about reality itself, beginning to tilt toward you. The equinox energy has reset the weight of things. Those who were ignored are now undeniable. Those who carried truth in silence suddenly feel the world bending to meet them. It begins subtly. A person who once disregarded you suddenly remembers something you said and treats it as wisdom. Someone who once looked down on you now pauses when you speak, unable to brush it aside. The shift is almost eerie because you didn't change your effort. The field around you changed its response. The return of presence is not a gift, it's a correction. The equinox has torn away the layers that muffled chosen ones, and what remains is sharp, clear, and unmissable. From this point forward, your energy doesn't just enter a room, it rearranges it. And for those who once thought you were insignificant, the realization will be uncomfortable, because they are now faced with a truth they can no longer avoid. The silence around you is breaking. The weight of your presence is back, and this time, there is no turning it off. If you thought you were awake before, today proves you've only seen the preview. This equinox is not a repeat of an old awakening. It's a deeper, more ruthless unmasking. The first wake-up cracked the surface. It gave you glimpses, curiosity, a taste for more. The second awakening shatters the foundation beneath those glimpses. It strips out the safety nets you've been clinging to and forces a reconfiguration at a scale that demands irreversible change. This is not a rerun. This is the upgrade your soul didn't ask for, but badly needed. Expect clarity that refuses to be negotiated. Where you once tolerated half-truths, you'll now feel an abrasive discomfort that pushes you to act or walk away. Relationships that were maintained by convenience will no longer fit the sharper edges of who you are becoming. Jobs and roles that dulled you will feel intolerably small. It won't be theatrical overnight, it will be persistent and unmistakable. A steady pressure toward truth that accelerates decision-making and exposes what was merely comfortable versus what is actually aligned. This awakening is anatomical. It reaches into the architecture of how you make choices. Your priorities reorder themselves not by theory, but by immediate felt sense. What feels light and what feels untenable. Synchronicities intensify in practical ways, not just spiritual poetry, signs, meetings, and opportunities align with an almost surgical precision for those who act. The second awakening doesn't hand you answers as much as it removes everything that made old answers plausible, so you are forced to build from a truer place. There's risk and reward in that rupture. For some, it will feel like losing parts of life they once thought secure. For others, it will feel like being given permission to become someone the old world cannot hold. The choice isn't theological, it's existential. Will you allow the new architecture to form, even if it costs you certainty? Today makes that question unavoidable. You cannot belong to the old and the new at the same time. This is the part most people don't want to admit. The equinox rapture feels exhilarating if you move with it, but crushing if you fight against it. Those who sense the shift, yet cling to the comfort of their old lives, will find themselves stretched between two worlds. It's like trying to hold your breath in two different realities at once. The result isn't clarity, it's pressure. Confusion starts to creep in. Restlessness gnaws at the edges of daily routines. Even the things that once brought security begin to feel hollow, but stepping into the new feels terrifying. That's the tension of being torn, the refusal to let go of one identity while the other is already pulling you forward. For some, this tension may express itself emotionally, sudden waves of sadness, irritability, or emptiness with no obvious cause. For others, it shows up physically, a tiredness that doesn't match their activity, or a wired energy that makes rest impossible. The body becomes a battlefield where two timelines collide, and the harder someone resists, the sharper the strain feels. But here's the thing, this isn't punishment, it's an invitation. That discomfort is the signal that the old framework has expired. It's not a curse, it's a call. The pressure you feel is not breaking you, it's breaking what no longer belongs to you. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means finally stepping into the current that has been waiting for you all along. So if you're watching this and you felt unsettled, torn between wanting more and clinging to what's familiar, know this. You're not malfunctioning. You're transitioning. And the moment you stop fighting the split, the moment you let yourself move with it, the heaviness dissolves. What feels like loss in resistance becomes relief in surrender. That's the hidden mercy of this equinox. It forces a choice, but in doing so, it frees you from limbo. The universe never forgets the hands that gave without receiving. The equinox rapture is not just a test, it's also a payout. For years, some of you have lived with invisible weight, giving more than you received, standing strong when nobody noticed, carrying burdens in silence while the world moved on. You've endured, and often it felt like the endurance went unseen, unrewarded, unrecognized. But today's equinox flips that balance. It is the return of a long-owed debt. Think of it this way. Every moment of suffering has been accumulating interest, stored in a vault beyond your sight. Every time you chose integrity over convenience, every time you kept walking when it would have been easier to quit, every time you showed kindness that was met with indifference, it all built a pressure in the unseen. And when the veil thinned today, that pressure snapped. The equinox delivered a release, and that release isn't abstract. It takes form in opportunities, in breakthroughs, in alignments that suddenly tilt in your favor. The ones who carried silent struggles often carry the deepest potential, and the rapture doesn't overlook that. It isn't here to erase your past. It's here to reward it. Your scars are now your credentials. What once weakened you becomes proof you are ready. Expect small signs first. A conversation that shifts unexpectedly, a door that opens when it was locked before, a situation that turns in your favor after years of stagnation. Then, expect larger ones, the recognition, the movement, the vindication that reminds you none of your pain was wasted. This isn't about revenge or scorekeeping. It's about rebalancing. The equinox doesn't punish the world on your behalf. It magnifies you so the world can no longer deny you. It lifts the weight you carried and repositions it as fuel. And the most empowering part, this is not temporary. Once the reward is set in motion, there's no putting the lid back on it. Your time of unseen suffering has ended. Your time of being seen has begun. Miss it, and you'll wait 6 more months. The autumn equinox isn't just another date on the calendar, it's a hinge in time. Twice a year, once in March and once in September, the scales of light and dark balance perfectly. That moment isn't symbolic, it's mechanical. It's a door creaking open in the machinery of the cosmos, and if you slip through it, you step into alignment that cannot be accessed on ordinary days. Today is one of those rare alignments. Think about it. Every other day of the year, the Earth leans, tilts, favors one pole or the other. But on the equinox, the axis stills. For just a few hours, it's not tipping toward the sun or away from it. That neutrality is the doorway. That pause is the portal. And just like a door that swings open and then shuts again, it doesn't linger. Once it closes, you're locked out until the next cycle. Miss it, and you'll wait 6 more months. And 6 months in this world is a lifetime. How many changes, losses, and turns happen in half a year? That's why this moment carries urgency. It is an appointment with your own evolution, and missing it means postponing your own transformation until the door reopens. Right now, the portal is alive. It isn't dramatic in the sky. You won't see beams of light splitting open. You won't hear trumpets. It's subtler than that, and that's why most people miss it. But for those attuned enough to pause, to step into awareness today, the window delivers. It might not shout, but it whispers with precision. It's the whisper that changes your path, the single choice that shifts your entire trajectory. So don't let this moment slip like sand through your hands. The equinox doesn't wait for you, you wait for it. And when it arrives, the ones who are awake enough to notice step through, while the rest are left standing outside, wondering why their lives keep circling the same cycles. Today is not about circles. Today is about crossing a line. The rapture is not peace at first. It is collision. What is happening right now is not a soft blending of energies. It is a migration, a crossing over that shakes the very air we breathe. Imagine streams of light surging into the shadows and shadows bleeding into the light. At first glance, you might think this should create balance, but the reality is far more chaotic. Balance doesn't appear immediately, it's forged through disruption. This equinox has flung open the gates, and energies that were once separated are now crashing into one another. That's why so many are reporting extremes. One moment you crave total silence, the next you're desperate for human contact. One day you feel calm, steady, almost blissful. The next, restless, agitated, or even volatile. This is not random moodiness. This is the rapture pulling you apart, stretching you between poles so you can no longer cling to just one side. You cannot become whole without first being split. The Great Crossing is not about comfort, it's about initiation. It drags suppressed energies to the surface, both light and dark, because they need to collide before they can merge. This is why people feel dizzy, why vertigo strikes suddenly, why the body experiences strange jolts or zaps in the head. These are not malfunctions, they are signs of thresholds breaking open inside you. It's disruptive because your system is literally recalibrating to contain what it couldn't hold before. And let's be honest, this is where most people get shaken. They want awakening to be gentle, to be serene. But there is nothing serene about tectonic plates grinding under your feet. There is nothing calm about rivers flooding into each other. The rapture is that flood. It tears down walls you didn't know you had, not to punish you, but to force energies that were trapped to finally move. What makes this moment unique is that the equinox magnifies the crossing. Every equinox balances the scales of night and day, but when a rapture is layered on top of it, the balance doesn't hold steady. Instead, the balance shatters into flux, and you feel like you're standing at a fault line where worlds overlap. That's why emotions spike, relationships shift, and even time feels strange today. Light doesn't conquer darkness here. Darkness doesn't swallow light. They trade places until you realize they were never separate. So if you're feeling torn, stretched, or unsettled, understand this. It's not proof you're failing, it's proof you're in it. The great crossing of energies is supposed to shake you. It's supposed to pull you in two directions, because only by living through that chaos do you realize the thread that holds both together. This is the work of the rapture, not to make you choose a side, but to make you live the tension until it transforms you. And while most will fight it, clinging desperately to whichever side feels safer, the ones who can stand in the storm, who can allow the push and pull without fleeing, those are the ones who come out the other side reborn. The rapture broke the spell of emotional anesthesia. For months, maybe even years, many people have felt it. That dull, heavy fog where nothing cuts deep anymore. You laugh, but it doesn't reach your chest. You cry, but it feels muted, like a performance instead of a release. Even spiritual practices that once set your soul on fire began to feel mechanical, repetitive, empty. That was the numbness, a kind of spiritual anesthesia that dulled your edges, kept you quiet, kept you safe. But the equinox rapture just fractured it wide open. Right now, emotions are leaking back in, raw and unfiltered, almost too much to bear. Some people are reporting sudden waves of tears, sobbing without a clear reason, or feeling their heart race over the smallest thing. Others are overwhelmed with laughter, nostalgia, or even anger that feels bigger than them. None of this is random. What's happening is the thawing of everything that's been frozen inside you. You are not breaking down, you are breaking free. The rapture acts like a hammer against the ice. It doesn't gently melt the numbness, it shatters it. That's why the feelings may feel so extreme. It's like blood rushing back into a limb that's been asleep for too long, painful, tingling, almost unbearable, but proof that life is returning. And yes, at first it feels chaotic, it feels messy. You may even mistake it for depression, anxiety, or some kind of inner collapse. But what's actually happening is the exact opposite. It's aliveness, pouring back in where it was once sealed away. Think about it. Numbness isn't protection, it's suffocation. It convinces you that you're safe from pain, but it also locks you away from joy, from passion, from the fire that makes you feel real. The rapture doesn't allow that anymore. It refuses to let you stay muted. It's pulling the plug on the anesthesia and forcing you to feel everything again, because only through feeling can you move forward. Feeling deeply is not weakness. It is the proof you survived the freeze. So if today your chest feels heavy, if you catch yourself crying without knowing why, if you feel like your emotions are spilling out faster than you can contain them, that's the sign. That's the rapture at work. It's not here to drown you, it's here to wake you. You are thawing. And while that process is disorienting, it is also liberation. The numbness is gone, and in its place comes something more terrifying, but infinitely more powerful, the full spectrum of being alive again. And that's the gift hidden inside the chaos. The rapture didn't come to strip you bare. It came to remind you that you were never meant to live behind glass. You were meant to feel every crack, every spark, every surge of life, because that's where your power waits. Something shifted with the equinox rapture, and one of the strangest changes will not come in fire, visions, or grand revelations. It will come in silence. After today, silence itself feels different. It is no longer just the absence of sound. It has become a living current, carrying messages, impressions, and insights in ways you've never felt before. Most of us have been conditioned to think that answers come from input, from books, from teachers, from endless scrolling through voices online. But in the wake of this rapture, the real transmissions come in the quiet. A single minute of stillness can hit harder than 1,000 hours of consuming information. And this isn't metaphor. You'll feel it in your bones. That tug when you pause and realize something is whispering through the quiet that no word could ever explain. The rapture didn't just open a doorway to higher truths, it muted the noise that kept you from hearing them. You may notice this in unexpected ways. A conversation may end, and the silence after feels thick, almost electric. Sitting in your room alone, you might suddenly feel like the walls themselves are humming with presence. Even a walk outside may feel altered, the quiet between the breeze and the bird song carrying more depth than you can process. This isn't imagination, it's the resonance of the shift, the way silence now acts like a tuning fork, aligning you to what is real. For chosen ones, this is going to feel like a weapon and a refuge all at once. Silence will protect you from deception because truth resonates clearly in stillness. Silence will recharge you because stillness is no longer empty. It's full, overflowing with the signals that were once drowned out by noise. And silence will empower you because people who fear quiet will be unmoored by it, but those who embrace it will gain clarity, direction, and certainty at a level they never had before. You'll get more guidance from one breath of stillness than from every voice that tries to distract you. This is why today is so important. The equinox didn't just balance light and dark, it reprogrammed the very spaces in between. Silence is no longer neutral, it has weight, meaning, and power. If you dare to step into it, you'll find yourself receiving answers you didn't even know you were searching for. So take moments today, even small ones, to embrace that pause. Not silence filled with distractions, not silence poisoned by scrolling or background noise, but real, complete stillness. In that stillness, you'll hear the real guidance, the raw truth, the messages meant for you and you alone. And once you hear them, once you experience the power of silence after this rapture, you'll realize why noise never really served you and why the quiet was always waiting to set you free. You are not here by accident. You are the reason this rapture is even happening. The autumn equinox rapture isn't random. It exists because you exist. Your persistence, your resilience, your refusal to break. That's what cracked this doorway open. Without you, there is no shift. This is your proof of purpose. The world bends because you are in it. You are not a spectator. You are the spark. The rapture moves through you, and the way you live from this moment forward is how its power spreads. So drop the illusion of smallness. You were born for this crossing. You were born to tilt reality. And now comes the real question: what will you do with it? If you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is very appreciated. Feel free to share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care and subscribe for more insightful content.